Hey, what's up guys? Chris here from productreviewshq.net, and I just want to share a video with you about how to fix your TV. And so let me tell you about the famous Westinghouse 46-inch LED TV, and the model number is LD-4655VX. And if you read the reviews on Amazon, you're going to know that this TV and the customer service is pretty terrible. Well, we didn't find that out until later on. Our TV actually lasted a while before the famous just turning off out of nowhere. We don't watch too much TV. We've had the TV for about a year and a half, and my wife was just watching TV, and all of a sudden out of nowhere it just turns right off. And fortunately, after a year, Westinghouse only gives a year warranty, and she was just watching TV, and out of nowhere TV just goes blank and will not turn back on by remote, by the manual power button around the back side over here. We switched the cord, plugged it into different outlets, same thing, not happening at all. Now, after doing some research, the easiest fix and what you're hoping for is it's just the power plug. And so what happens, I guess, is something heats up in here, the parts are cheap, and the power adapter, which is the plug that goes into the wall, burns up and just goes dead. So let me show you that. So here's the power adapter here. Of course, this part goes in the back of the TV, and then the wall part with 3-prong, go ahead and we plug it into the wall, and the 3-prong goes in right here. Now this is a stock one that came with the Westinghouse TV. It is a AC/DC adapter. The model number is FSP090-DMBF1. AC input is 100-240 volt -1.5A, 5060 hertz. DC output is 19 volt, 4.74A max, 90 watt max. So just giving you a quick little specs on that. But anyway, so the easiest fix, what I've done some research, is you just buy a new one of those, plug it in, TV should be fine. Simplest thing to do. And I'll have some descriptions in the box below, link where you can buy this and do that. I'm also going to open up the back of the TV and look at the caps to see if they've mushroomed, which means they burnt out and fizzed on top, flowed over, and I'll explain that. So let's go ahead and flip this over, take off the bolts, and open up the back of the TV. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to take off all the screws, and they're all Phillips head. So you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver here, and just start from one corner and just work your way all the way around. I'm talking getting every little screw here, and we'll do a full count afterwards all the way up, all the way around. And if you're wondering about this, I'm going to have another video on that, making your own DIY flat wall TV hanger. So stay tuned for that video as well. But let's take all those screws off and let's lift off that back there. Okay, so I got all the screws off the bottom here. And one way to do is you go ahead and just right below the hole, just lay the screw so you know exactly where it goes back. So this one would go right over here, and that way you can put it back the way it was. So these bolts are very, very small Phillips bolts here, and so you're going to have to need a really fine point Phillips, or get yourself a little itty bitty tool right here. And it definitely helps. This one is magnetic tip, and so it definitely helps with these really deep ones here at the bottom and there as well. You just stick it in there, unscrew it, and then magnetically sticks just like that. Alrighty guys, we have a total of 21 bolts all the way around, but don't forget about these little 2 ones here, 1, 2, that go right here and here. So we have 23 total. The easiest thing to do is just get your fingernail right here under the bezel and lift up like that. On this side, lift up like that. Okay, so I had to actually remove the back DIY wall brace there, and so now it just pulls on up. Real simple there. Watch your bolts in the back, and let's set this aside here. So be careful of this before you completely remove the back panel. over here you're going to find some tape and a wire stretched over here. Okay, so we lifted the cover up, and again, watch this little line right over here, connected over here. You can remove that if you want, but I think it's hooked up there with double sticky tape. I'm just going to let that sit there, so I just propped it up against a chair. And what we're going to be looking for now is we're looking for the LED ribbons that look like they're not connected or fried, and then the caps over here if they've blown over and they just don't look right. So let's go in for a closer look here. Let's take a little look here. So what we're looking for is we're looking for like these caps right here, and of course the ones over here. We want them looking like this, so they look fine. They don't look like, anything is boiling over to the point of heat, so let's go in a little bit closer. Well guys, after examining it really closely for a while, it does not look like anything is burnt out of the ordinary. The whole motherboard looks good. All the coils look good, the caps look good. And again, when I mean caps, it's these things right here. If the caps were bad, you'd potentially see them blown with like little white, like almost like a dead car battery, how some stuff just oozes off the top. Okay, so none of the capacitors, and early in the video I call them caps, but capacitors, caps for short, none of them are bulging off the top, and none of them are oozing. Oozing would be that this little slice and that little slice, vertical and horizontal slices, would be oozing. Stuff would be coming out of the top, or they would be almost like ballooned, like a popcorn bag on the top. But all these are nice flat on top here, so we're looking good. So it doesn't look like any of the capacitors are bad. And another known problem with this TV, if it's not the power supply or not bad caps like we've already looked at, people are reporting that their ribbons are messed up either right here or right here. And what we're going to do here is we're actually going to plug in the power supply. We're going to go ahead and pull this back here. We're going to look at our ribbons. We're going to pull them out as the power supply is on, and we're going to see if the TV starts or lights up when we pull out these one at a time. So let's peel this tape back here. We have our power supply in, connected right here. Okay, and how we check these pins here. So we're going to take our fingernail here, and there's a little slot right there where my fingernail is. Very carefully, it lifts up. So it goes down to up position, and then you just carefully slide that right back. So when you put it back, it's just like this. So slide it back. Let's flip it over and have a look-see. Okay, those pins look good to me. Okay guys, and even though these pins look good here, as I took out this one here, now my motherboard is not making a little twerp on me, like a very faint twerp, twerp. So I believe there's a short that a lot of these cheap components on these Westinghouses have. So let's listen in very carefully here while I put this back, and watch this. So do you hear that? Okay, now watch. It stops. So I believe it's this one here, but we're going to double check. We're going to put this one back in. We're going to take this one out and see if that little beep, beep, beep stops. Okay, so this one, same thing. You're just going to flip up the tab there. And then you're going to pull out the ribbon. And we're going to take a look at this very carefully. That looks good there. But as you can tell, I still have my short, that little faint chirp. So the culprit is this ribbon right here. So my last test, I'm going to bring the whole TV up and I'm going to unplug the ribbon, and I'm going to see if this ribbon, if this side of the TV will fire up, because these ribbons plug into your backlight. So let's see if we get any action going on after that. Alrighty guys, so remember that right pin like I said? Well, I set the TV up, I left the right pin out, and I went ahead and fired up the TV, and it works now. But as you can see, we're darker over here. We're really right over here. So let me give you another example here. So I'm going to hit the volume up. Okay, now look at that. Really dark right there. Let's zoom in here. So that is your volume there. And see how it goes really bright blue right here, and then just fades like this. So it still works, but your right hand side of your screen is going to be dimmer. So let's see if we can. I don't have the antenna plugged in, but let's see what we got here. I mean, it still works, but it is very slightly dimmer. So that ribbon is for this backlight, and then the other ribbon that is better is for this backlight here. So again, that is an easy test to see if your LED backlight is the culprit before you go out and you go buy yourself a new power supply. You could test with a multimeter. I didn't even get to that. I just really wanted to take the back apart and save myself paying for a new one of those. And so if you can live with that, you know, turn on your cable. If you can live with a little bit dimmer on this side, so be it. But I'm going to go a step further, and I'm going to show you how to fix this. Where there's a little slack in the cable, and let me go ahead and turn it back over, and I'll show you what to do. Okay guys, and again, when I put it up and I just showed you how it turned on, this is the problem. It's this ribbon right here. The other ribbon I put the tape back on because this ribbon is fine. So when I turned it on, I had this one out, just like this. Flipped it up, this one was in. Flipped it up, and again turned out to be this one. And you can tell by the sound, the little bird chirping, where it goes zoop, 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 when I plug this one back in. And so the fix for this is because there is a little bit of slack. Look at the slack where it goes way past the point there. The fix for this is you're actually going to cut this ribbon, and then you're going to take like 180 sandpaper and you're going to sand down the plastic covering for it, exposing the copper, and then you're going to go ahead and slip it back in, and it should do the trick. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So you can try to repair this end of it here, but I'm going to take it a step further and I'm going to show you another fix. If you cut that and get it down to the copper and slip it in, if it still doesn't work and light up properly, we're going to trace this ribbon all the way to the front, bottom, down over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully remove that tape, pop that out. I'm going to get that backing out of the way. I'm going to bring up the top again. I'm going to follow again that ribbon all the way to the front where the LED lights light up, and I'm going to make sure that connection is secure as well. So do these steps, and if it works for you, hey, you're done. But if it still doesn't work for you, that's why I'm going the extra steps for all the issues that people have experienced with this. And so let's go ahead and do that. So now that our cover is back over there, we're going to go ahead and remove this black bezel here. And this is very easy here. So you're at the top of the TV now, and it's just these little plastic hooks right here, right here, right there, and right there. And as you can see, it's separating there. So one right there. So I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to remove this so I don't drop. Alright, now to completely remove the bezel from the thing, you're going to remove the speakers very carefully here, and they just come off of their little perches there, right there, and they just slip off of these things there. Carefully have them here, and you might want to take like maybe a little piece of electrical tape so they don't flop around and get damaged if you want. Okay, with the speakers out of the way here, let's go ahead and lift the metal part up, remove it from the bezel, and get that safely out of the way. Alrighty guys, and remember when you do take the bezel off, down here at the bottom, we're looking at the bottom of the television, you do have your little plug-in right here, so watch out for that, don't rip that out. That plugs into your little LED light that lights up your Westinghouse logo right here at the bottom of the bezel, so be careful of that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to remove the bottom portion right here. So we got to remove these little metal clasps here and this black portion here to get to the LED ribbons that are right behind here. The LED lights are on the bottom that light up the display. No need to take off the display, but we're going to remove the lower portion right here. Alright guys, so my little things are here and here. These are the little screws for the black ones down here, and the screws for the little metal ones are a little bit longer, so make sure you stay with those ones there. And these things right here, they just, they're located right here, and they just slip off. They have a little backing right there, so be careful. Slip them off there. And then this last one right here, by this little plug I was showing you earlier, this one is actually latched in there, and you won't be able to remove that until you go to the back of the TV. And we have to remove these 4 screws to remove this back brace here to allow that little metal thing to slip out of there. Alright guys, now with the TV propped up here, what I did is I just used my fingernail. I got it behind there. And again, you don't have to undo this one, just the one right down here at the bottom. I got my fingernail over here and I just kind of popped it out a little bit, moved over to this side, got my fingernail over there, popped it out, and then it's going to come down like this. And be careful while you're popping it out, just be gentle with it. And then, as you can see, here is your whole complete LED row right there, all the way over here. And so if you're looking at the motherboard and the left ribbon is dim when you power it up, as in the left side right here, then you want to focus in on the connection right here. And that little ribbon right there, little flip tab, that's your connection to your motherboard, to the left ribbon there, and that's your connection to the LED lights right here. Now, well, my screen is bad over here and it's dim on the right side. I'm going to be looking at the right hand side right here, the connection right here. Now this TV has never been dropped before, but already I can tell where it goes around the bottom of the LED lights. It looks a little bit pinched right where my fingernail is right there. You can see the kind of the 2 halves there. Let me get in for a nice little closer look here. Okay guys, this is what I'm talking about here. Here's the right hand side ribbon. Sorry if my hands shake with the camera here, but as you can see, it's rubbing on the aluminum there. This is the problem right here. Right over here to the left looks a little frayed, and it's pinching on the aluminum down here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and pop up this black tab here very carefully. Don't break that. That's what holds down the ribbon onto the contacts. And we're going to put some electrical tape around that to put some more installation on this ribbon here. And then we're going to try it, power it up, fire it up, see if it works. If it doesn't, we're going to go ahead and cut the end and then sandpaper down the ends, stick it back in. So, alright guys, as you can see, I put electrical tape on the back side of it so that the ribbon doesn't get pinched. And now I'm going to put electrical tape on the front of it. Just like that here. And that's also going to prevent the ribbon from backing out because the tape is nice and secure there. Here's a shot of what it looks like with only the left side lit. So you got big glow here and nothing here. This is ambient light from the side railing, a little light over here that's lighting the path here. This is how it should be all the way across. Alright guys, so the first thing I did here to expose the copper there, I just cut off the ends with the scissors. Then I took my razor blade, carefully scraped off the portion there on the bottom, and then I used my sandpaper to take off the silver to expose the copper. Alrighty guys, so long story short, we took the ribbon, as you saw just previously, and then I super glued the tops of the bad part on top so it'd be nice and thick, and inserts. Well, anyway, I did that, and the lights, they lit up all the way across except for just this little corner right over here, and I was like, yes, I'm fixing it. So then I heard you got to just pull them out and insert them to wiggle them around a little bit for pure, beautiful connection. Well, upon that, shoved it a little too far in, and the worst case scenario did happen. Side LED board here. I had my electrical tape here so I didn't short it, and as you can see, my worst case scenario happened here. The little prong popped right off. So in a last attempt to save it, I'm going to try to micro solder this little itty bitty guy right there with the prongs on the end to the end of that. It's probably not going to work because each individual one of those probably needs its own connection, so I'm not that finely micro solder. I don't know who in the world is that finely be able to micro solder. Try to super glue it on there. It didn't work. So anyway, be very careful if you're going to use the old ribbon and you're going to super glue the tops and insert it so it's nice and thick. Be careful not to push too hard or this is going to happen to you. Well guys, doesn't look good. It is very pristine to do a solder job, and I'm not the best at it. And what happened was, of course, the heats up, and this is plastic right here on top of these pins, and so it just got a little too messed up. So unfortunately, my last result couldn't fix that. Super glue, of course, didn't as well. So there's 64 lights on the left one, and I'm pretty sure on the right one as well. So I'm just going to get a new light bar. I'm going to look around. Maybe there's some folks over in China who sell a 64 light bar. Anyway, so I'm going to live with half my left side on, and I'll show you what the picture looks like when I put it all back together and hang it on my wall right over there. Also, the other option is I peeled up the bottom of it here, thinking that I could maybe find some pins underneath, but of course no pins underneath, just the sticky white tape on the metal rail. And again, 64 just 12 pin ribbon LED strip, and so I'm going to actually just see if I can find a Chinese seller that just has 64 lights like this with a 12 pin. That's cheaper than trying to find the whole, of course, the whole rail, and then just put it back in with some double-sided sticky tape and have a new TV back in action. And on this side, guys, the side that the lights are still working, I went ahead and I took out the this side here. This is the left side. Put some electrical tape underneath so that it doesn't short circuit on this aluminum. The aluminum rail the lights sit on, the ribbon comes around and it shorts out on this right here. If you want to get a little bit more crazy, just undo these bolts again, and on the back of the very back of the metal part, you can actually extend it and bring it around a little bit more if you like. But I just put some on the back of this to prevent the left side from burning out. Just a theory. I'm not sure if it's going to work or not, but if you only have one side of the lights lit, and with this bar removed, like I've already showed you, you could actually remove that, unwind the ribbon in the back, scoot this light so it's centered in the middle, so you're getting kind of even light on both sides if you just want to stick with one set of lights. That's an idea. So it's actually not too bad, to tell you the truth. On this camera it looks kind of bad, but in person it's actually not too bad at all. As you can see a little bit right now, I only have the left light going, right light is not going at all, and it's not too bad. So if you can live with it, do. If not, fix it.